What we have to understand is that our immune system is a muscle. That means it has to be challenged to get stronger. We actually need exposure to viruses, bacteria, different pathogens, or our immune system loses its resilience. It atrophies, it gets weaker. Just like our muscles need to be trained. They need consistent exercise. We can't exercise for 1 month and then take a month off and expect to have the same level of fitness. Well, it's the same thing with our immune system. We need exposure, and that's important. And obviously, right now with COVID-19, there is a big push to isolate ourselves so things don't spread. And I can understand that. And the understandability is that there are people that are immunocompromised that could end up getting the infection. But the reality is this thing is going to spread. We can't isolate it forever. It is going to spread. Most people are going to get infected with COVID-19, the coronavirus, just like most of us get infected with the flu or a fever or something like that every single year. Now, the way we experience it is different. And part of that is because of how resilient our immune system is. When your immune system is very resilient, it's a short-lived experience. And, sometimes the symptoms are mild to moderate. Sometimes they're a little bit more severe, and depending on where you were at, if you're a little bit more immunocompromised at the moment, if you're under more stress, things like that. But your body's going to get stronger and more resilient by going through it. So that's the key. Now, here's what you want to make sure you're avoiding. These are things you want to make sure you're not doing because they will cripple your immune system. You want to stay off the sugar and carbs. And this is what most people throughout our world are doing is they're eating a lot of sugar, a lot of carbs, breads, starches, sugars. These things really damage the immune system. Most people are not sleeping well. They're staying up late, watching movies or whatever it is. They're on their phones, electronics, and they're not getting good quality sleep. A lot of people actually sleep in front of the TV with the TV on. We want our room as dark as possible. I'm going to go through what we need to do to optimize our sleep. Most people are drinking tap water and not drinking well-filtered water, or they're drinking water out of plastic bottles. And there's tons of toxins in there that damage the immune system. Most people are staying indoors, especially during the cold and flu season, during the winter months. We need to be getting outside, getting fresh air, sunshine. And most people are not hydrating well, again, especially during the cooler months. And so we know that when we have a blood sugar of 120, which is considered pre-diabetic, 126 would be the diabetic range, fasting blood sugar of 120, that it actually reduces our what's called our phagocytic index, or the ability of a white blood cell to destroy a virus, bacteria, pathogen. It reduces it by 75%. So that means only 25% is effective. Now, if we were to test everybody's fasting blood sugar, there's only a percentage that would be at 120 where they're pre-diabetic or diabetic. However, if you were to eat a sandwich, okay, that sandwich with bread is going to increase your blood sugar way up over 120. It'll probably be, upwards of, 200, maybe drop down to 150, 130, and it'll be there for 2, sometimes 3 hours in that range. And so bread, sugars, starches, these types of things are going to drive up that blood sugar and put you in a state where you're immunocompromised for short periods of time. But if you're doing that consistently throughout the day, if you're eating every 3 to 4 hours and you're consuming carbs, you are creating a state of immunocompromise, right? You are actually putting your body into a state where you are much more likely to develop some sort of an infection. So you've got to get rid of the sugar and the starch. We need to make sure we're sleeping well. We know that when we sleep, that is when our brain detoxifies. So it's so important to drain the brain, right? And so getting the lymphatic system of the brain moving well, helping to balance the neurotransmitters, helping to clean out the trash. That's what happens when we sleep. We've got to maximize good sleep. Okay, we need to make sure we're hydrating our body well. So really drinking good quality water, hydrating well, so important. Just making sure that we're clearing out toxins, moving our lymphatic system. Water is so important for good health. It's a part of every single metabolic function in our body. And 75% of our society is chronically dehydrated. So chances are you are as well. But when we hydrate, we want to make sure we're hydrating with a really good water filtration system. I like things like hydrogen water, or a Berkey, or a reverse osmosis, where we're getting rid of fluoride, chlorine, glyphosate, the other different pesticides, hormones, heavy metals that may be in there, like lead and aluminum and pesticides and arsenic and stuff like that. So we want to get rid of that stuff. So again, reverse osmosis, Echo, the Synergy Science hydrogen water system pulls that stuff out. And Berkey can also be good for this as well. But we've got to make sure that we're drinking good, clean water. We want to make sure we're eating some of the top immune supportive foods, things like bone broth, lemons and limes, apple cider vinegar, garlic, onions, ginger, olive oil, different types of mushrooms can be really helpful. And you can also get other herbs as well, things like turmeric, basil, oregano, thyme, rosemary, fennel. These things are all great to be consuming on a regular basis. Dandelion, radishes, artichoke. These are all great for the immune system, great for the digestive system, and really support our body. So one easy principle that you could do is drink warm lemon water on a daily basis. Drinking warm lemon water is really good for helping support your immune system, helping support your digestive system, your immune system. Just so good for that. So definitely be doing that. We want to make sure that we're moving our body really well. So making sure we're moving. Now, there's a difference between moving and exercise. Exercise is something that gets our heart rate up at a high level. So it would be resistance training or high intensity interval training. Movement is something very light and easy on the body. So just walking around, doing a light activity is so important for your immune system. But then also bouts of regular exercise, also very, very important for your immune function. And then we want to be in a state of gratitude. We want to really be focusing on giving thanks, being grateful, loving other people, serving people. This is one of the best things we can do for our immune system. People who are grateful have much greater, they have higher amounts of T helper cells, which help balance the immune system. And they have much more effective immune response. So demonstrating compassion and empathy and being satisfied and always looking on the bright side is very important for keeping your body healthy and strong. Now, tips for a great night's sleep. I like to keep my room really cool. I typically turn the air conditioning on to 65 degrees and have an overhead fan on high. So sometimes the room will get down to 63, 62 degrees sometimes. And I'm under my covers and I sleep great in a really cool room. Keep your room as dark as possible. Make sure that you don't have any ambient light coming in. And also, to add to that, adding a sleep mask is really helpful too. Do not consume caffeine within 8 hours of sleeping. Caffeine is going to increase your stress response, which is okay if you're doing it, maybe in the morning, but certainly not anytime before, after, let's say 1 or 2 p.m. That way it doesn't interfere with your sleep. Do your best not to eat within 3 hours of sleeping. That allows your digestive system to go to work and process the food that came in before you actually fall asleep. And that way your body can focus not on digestion while you're sleeping, but on healing and repair. Make sure during the day you're doing your best to get sun exposure. If the sun is out, try to get some level, 10 to 15 minutes of sun exposure. That helps set your circadian rhythm, helps you sleep more effectively. You want to exercise like we talked about, but not too late at night. You want to avoid bright light after sunset, and you want to wind down after 9 p.m. So many people have goals after 9 p.m. I talk to a lot of people and they're like, yeah, I'm doing the laundry, or I am making a list for grocery shopping tomorrow. Not good idea. After 9 p.m., you want to wind down. You want to be doing very relaxing things, maybe a casual conversation with a spouse or loved one, maybe reading a book, dim your lights. So make sure you've got, all your lights dimmed. Maybe you're taking a bath, like an Epsom salt bath or a mineral bath or something like that. Maybe listening to some light worship music or classical music. something that's very, very calming on your body. Okay, that's really what you want to be doing. And that will help you wind down and be able to sleep more effectively. So I always think that, the more sleep you can get before midnight, the better. Every hour of sleep you get before midnight is equivalent to 3 hours of the regenerative capacity of sleep after midnight. So I'm a huge fan of trying to be in bed by 10 p.m. I think that's realistic for a lot of people, certainly not everybody based on their work schedules, but trying to be in bed by 10 p.m., you're going to get better quality sleep, sleeping from, let's say, 10 to 6 a.m. than you would if you were to sleep, from midnight to 8 a.m., right? So from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. would be a better quality sleep than from midnight to 8 a.m. So trying to get to bed, before midnight is a very good idea. And then we want to do fasting. You guys know I'm a huge fan of intermittent fasting and then also doing some extended fasting. And the reason why is that fasting allows our body to use energy more efficiently. It helps promote metabolic flexibility and energy efficiency. And when we're not using energy for trying to digest, we're going to use energy for healing and repair. And part of that process is this process of autophagy. And autophagy is where our body breaks down old, damaged cellular organelles. We actually break in, we degrade them, and rebuild new, healthy organelles. And that is one way that our body naturally gets rid of viruses. We actually eat the cells, in a sense, that are viral infected, which is one reason why when you get the flu, many times, you feel nauseous or you're vomiting and you can't consume anything. For some people, they can't even consume water. They end up doing a dry fast. And so basically your body is doing deep work on autophagy when that happens. It says, okay, let's stop bringing anything in because we need to get rid of these viruses before they kill us. And so, it just ramps up the autophagy. And so you can get some intentional autophagy on a regular basis by practicing intermittent fasting, where you do something like, not consuming food for 16 to 18 hours, and consuming your food in a 6 to 8 hour eating window, like 12 p.m., maybe your first meal, and your second meal maybe at like 5 or 6. Okay, that would be an example of intermittent fasting. And that really drives down your blood sugar and your insulin levels, which allows your immune system to function significantly better and allows your body to go through this process of autophagy where you're breaking down these older damaged cells and viral infected cells